Forget Miami. Denver is feeling like a primo place to spend spring break. We're glad you're with us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Kyle Clark. So today we kicked off what's expected to be a historic March heat wave. We topped out in the 70s, and away we go from here. We're expected to get a streak of 80 degrees or above. 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi is here. You're more of a mathologist than I am, but above 80s would be 90 degrees.
Nothing gets by you. Yes, the mathology is exactly right there, Kyle. Yes, we are likely going to be flirting with 90 degrees later this week. Now, not here at Copper Mountain, but in Denver, Colorado. And for those of you who might be unfamiliar with Denver and Colorado weather, this is primo snowstorm weather season for us here, right? Typically mid-March, we're talking about snowstorms and kind of big blizzards. Not this year, at least not this week. Those are just a few bugs, I think, flying. It's not snowing there at Copper Mountain right now. It's currently in the mid to upper 50s across most of the metro area, though, in downtown Denver here at the 90s backyard. That sensor about 50 feet to my left. It is 65 degrees here at Spear and Logan in downtown Denver. Mostly in the 40s and 50s in the mountains, 50s, 60s, Eastern Plains. We are very warm statewide right now, and get used to it here, folks. We're going to be talking about these temperatures way above average for the next few days. Lows tonight, only in the 30s and 40s. Still a little gusty, but not as windy as it was last night. It was quite windy across the west metro area, but those temperatures are going to go on a big upward swing. I'll tell you about those, how warm it gets, and what sorts of records we might break. That coming up in just a few minutes.
Democratic Governor Jared Polis is bringing together a drought task force for the first time since 2020. That was a historic year for wildfires when we saw the 3 largest in the state's history. The task force is made up of 4 agencies whose members will meet to discuss ways to monitor the impacts of drought. They'll be tasked with making recommendations to the government, things like conservation measures and emergency declarations.
This is really the earliest activation we've seen of a drought task force. In the past, it was activated in June. So we really wanted to make sure that we were meeting early and often.
The last time the drought task force was brought together, it was active for 2 years. Considering the dry conditions, Denver Water is urging you not to turn on the sprinklers yet.
They want people to hold off for months at this point. 9 News reporter Janelle Finch is along now from Denver with more on these early season water conservation efforts. Janelle?
Denver Water says many of their customers set it and forget it when it comes to their sprinklers, but the utility doesn't want that to happen too early in case that impacts future water access. Signs around Colorado point to summertime. Ducks in the creek, runners at Wash Park, and dry, dying, dead grass. Denver Water says don't be fooled.
It's only March.
And don't turn on sprinklers during the upcoming heat wave.
It'll be tempting with the warm weather. Please do not turn on your irrigation system.
Todd Hartman says ignore the summer signs.
Even though it's going to be very hot, we did get a pretty good dose of wet snow just over the weekend. That's going to serve you well for several days.
He says overall reservoir water levels are 5% lower than average right now. Denver won't run out of water, but Hartman's concerned about long-term resource access.
We can get through this year. It's what if we have a repeat of these conditions next go round? Then we are looking at a real potential crisis.
Water season is May 1st to October 1st. Hartman says many Denver Water customers are on a 3-day watering schedule. This year could look different. The Board of Water Commissioners is considering Stage 1 drought restrictions.
If we go forward with that, that would limit you to 2 days a week.
The board will discuss enacting restrictions next week. In the meantime, Hartman says listen to the calendar, not the forecast. And don't participate in all of summer's routines too early.
This could be a tougher stretch. We hope not, but this is why we're asking people to be very thoughtful about their watering.
Denver Water says it's also beneficial to not turn on your sprinklers too early, just in case we do get a freeze sometime later this spring. Hartman says hand watering is also an option for trees or shrubs that might look a little dry in your yard. Live in Denver, Janelle Finch, 9 News.
This historic March heat wave could be brutal for crops in Colorado. At Denver Urban Gardens locations, the fruit trees are already blooming, ladybugs are popping out, honeybees are leaving their hives early. This heat wave comes with the fear among those urban farmers that a following freeze could hurt those insects, could significantly weaken this year's harvest, both theirs and across Colorado. And they think it's part of a worsening cycle.
In Colorado, in the Front Range in general, we have wildly vacillating temperatures. So we'll have fruit trees that will bloom early, and then we get a freeze that kills them. That just happened last week.
The Palisade peach, Colorado's signature fruit crop, could face uncertainty from the heat as well. Now, the western slope typically offers more temperature stability than the Front Range, but forecasters are projecting consistently elevated temperatures there as well.
We are closing out day 2 of a strike at the hometown location of one of the country's largest meatpacking companies. As employees picket outside the JBS facility in Greeley, we're getting a better understanding of the potential impact on the beef industry. JBS says that facility processes about 5,000 to 6,000 head of cattle a day. The company is shifting production to other facilities across the country as it tries to maintain normal operations. But some experts question if that's sustainable and point out the beef industry is already under significant pressure.
Whether it's the fact that we have fewer animals today in the beef industry than we've had in almost 80 years. Prices are high, beef prices are high, feed is high, interest rates are high, fuel is high. All of those things are also happening around the beef industry.
The strike is the first of its kind at this scale in more than 40 years. Dr. Jennifer Martin says she doesn't see this impacting beef prices in the coming days. She says it could make a difference long term if the strike lasts a long time.
An 11-year-old boy is now charged with first-degree murder and the death of his 5-year-old brother. The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office says the 5-year-old was killed at a home on South Jericho Way in Centennial last week. Not clear how the boy died. Today, the district attorney's office announced formal charges against his 11-year-old sibling. According to prosecutors, a child 10 years or older can be charged with a crime in Colorado, but a child must be at least 12 for the case to qualify to move to be adult court. So for now, the child's case is moving through the juvenile court system.
An accused serial killer was convicted today in the 1996 murder of a woman in Denver. Police found 35-year-old Terry Turachek dead inside her apartment in October of 1996. She had been beaten and strangled. The case was cold for years until a DNA hit matched Ricky Dawson. Prosecutors charged him in 2023, and today a jury found the 65-year-old guilty. Terry's daughter, who was 14 when her mother was killed, says she's grateful for that long wait of justice being over, but she says she holds no hate in her heart.
My heart has laid this to rest many years ago. I have forgiven this man, and I only have space for love in my heart, so.
Dawson faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. He'll be formally sentenced at the end of next month. He's already pleaded guilty to murder in Florida and has been linked to murder investigations in Washington and California.
The family of the man charged in the anti-Semitic firebombing attack in Boulder is asking to be let out of immigration detention. The suspect's wife and 5 children, who range in age from 5 to 18, are all in the U.S. legally. They've now been held for deportation for 9 months. The family wrote letters to a U.S. Senate committee asking to be released. They maintain they didn't have any prior knowledge of the attack, and they write that they're, quote, trapped in a nightmare we didn't create. The family has been granted bond twice, but the federal government has challenged those decisions and ordered the family to stay in detention. There's something called the Flores settlement, which states that the federal government is not allowed to hold children past 20 days. Data obtained by NBC News shows the Trump administration has held 900 children past that 20-day mark as of this January.
Regis University is preparing to welcome in their first female president in the school's nearly 150-year history, and tonight we're hearing from her. Regis announced the hiring of Dr. Shauna Cooper Whitehead earlier this month. She's coming to Denver from Boston College, where she served as vice president of student affairs since 2021. She's also worked at MIT, Northwestern, and several other universities. As she prepares to begin the job at Regis, she says her vision for the university will start with the students.
I think my first priorities are to do a lot of listening. It can't be my vision. If we're going to usher this institution into the next 150 years, it has to be a shared vision.
Dr. Cooper Whitehead is set to start her new role as Regis's 29th president, July 1st.
When a woman in Denver was feeling under the weather, she called to cancel a doctor's appointment.
And it is a call that would save her life. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause brings us the story.
Thank you for choosing Intermountain Health.
The calls that come into doctors' offices can feel like an afterthought.
And how can I help you?
Kim Headley and Tanya Hopper have heard it all.
And then can you spell the last name, please?
But in December, a call came in they couldn't forget.
Yeah, unbelievable. I tell you, I woke up about 4 a.m. in the morning and I felt my chest pulsating. and I felt really exhausted. And when I woke up, I said, I have to go down and cancel that appointment. So about 6 o'clock, I couldn't put one foot before the other one.
A call connected Eunice Freeney Brown to Kim and Intermountain Health's Contact Care.
I got the call and she was talking and she was really short of breath, like she would have say a word and two and then she would have to take a breath again. And I finally go, are you short of breath? That's when she told me she was having the worst chest pain of her life. And I had one other person tell me that before and I'm like, oh no, she needs to talk to an RN.
So she said, okay, hold on, and I'll be right back with you.
Kim reached out to Tanya, the nurse on call, to help.
She never made it to me.
Eunice was gone. Emergency contacts, no answer. So Tanya called for help.
It was banging on my front door. And I said, who is that at my front door? And I looked out, it was the paramedics and the fire department.
Help coming just minutes after their connection dropped.
I really do appreciate her because she saved my life. At that moment, I didn't know I was having a heart attack.
Help she didn't know she needed.
Something is wrong. But I wasn't going to go to the doctor. I wasn't going to do anything but stay home and probably would have died here.
3 months later and on the mend.
Hi, how are you all doing?
Eunice is finally getting the chance to tell Kim and Tanya,
wonderful to meet you all.
Thank you.
And I am so grateful and I appreciate you too so much. And I owe you my life. Okay?
You're so sweet.
Okay.
What started as a quick call connecting the three, creating a connection for life.
Yeah. I am standing tall.
I love it.
Because of you all, okay?
I love it.
Oh, and I love you all, okay?
Eunice says she's so grateful to Kim and to Tanya for recognizing the signs and symptoms of her heart attack when she didn't. Now Eunice is on the road to recovery, still taking meds and working to build back up her strength, but she's already back up and running, taking extra care to listen to what her body tells her.
Right? How easy would it have been for them just to be like, yeah, she'll call back if she needs something?
Yeah, canceling the appointment, that's it. Wow.
And they say that, you get those calls and over the time you get to recognize, oh, I can hear somebody's out of breath or I can hear there's something going on. And then you right away to jump into action.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah, and to make that call, that emergency call within minutes, making a difference. Seconds, actually, probably.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Rachel.